How a homeless college dropout became a billionaire CEO. Introduction. He would later become one of the most influential CEOs in the world. A man whose decisions would shape industries, build thousands of jobs, and inspire millions. A man whose company would be valued in the billions, whose ideas would transform the way we live, move, buy, and dream. But long before he became a billionaire CEO. Before the suits, the boardrooms, the private jets. Before the headlines and magazine covers. He was just a scared, hungry, exhausted young man sleeping under a highway bridge with nothing but a torn backpack and a notebook full of dreams. This is the story of Ethan Cole, the homeless college dropout who refused to let life decide his fate. The man who built an empire from nothing. The man who turned hopelessness into power. And the man who proved that sometimes, to rise, you have to fall first. Chapter 1, The Fall. Ethan Cole was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, into what most people would call a normal American family. His father worked long hours as a factory technician, his mother managed a small grocery store. They weren't rich, but they were hard-working, honest people. Ethan was smart, one of those kids who could take apart a broken radio and put it back together just by guessing where the wires went. He loved building things, robots made from cereal boxes, circuit boards from discarded electronics, and little wooden machines that didn't always work but made him feel alive. By high school, he was the kid teachers whispered about. A genius. A future engineer. A scholarship waiting to happen. And they were right. Ethan earned a full scholarship to a top engineering college in Boston. His parents cried the day he left, believing their son was about to break the cycle of struggle that had held their family down for generations. But life had other plans. College was harder than he expected, not the subjects, but the loneliness. He felt like an outsider among rich kids who drove Teslas and wore $1,000 jackets. Ethan worked 2 part-time jobs just to cover food and books. His days were long, his nights even longer. And then, his father got sick. 2 months into Ethan's second semester, he received a call that would flip his world upside down. His father had collapsed at the factory. The diagnosis, aggressive heart failure. Medical bills piled up faster than the family could count. His mother begged him to stay in school, but Ethan couldn't just watch his family drown. He made a decision, one that felt like swallowing fire. He dropped out. He left behind the scholarship, the dream, the future everyone believed was guaranteed. He returned home, thinking he would save his family. Instead, he walked into a storm. The medical bills continued to rise. His father couldn't return to work. The grocery store where his mother worked cut her hours. In just 6 months, they lost everything, first the car, then the house. Ethan watched as the bank claimed the only place he had ever called home. The family scattered, his parents went to live with relatives. Ethan, refusing to be a burden, chose something else. He chose the streets. Chapter 2, The Streets. There are many sounds you hear when you're homeless. The rumble of cars. The cold wind slicing through your jacket. The quiet humiliation of people avoiding your eyes. And the loudest sound of all, your own thoughts screaming, "How did I end up here?" Ethan spent nights beneath an overpass. Days wandering the city looking for work. He showered in gas station bathrooms, ate from vending machines, and slept with one eye open. And yet, he carried something with him that most homeless people don't. A notebook. Inside it were sketches of ideas. Inventions. Business concepts. Solutions to problems he observed while living on the streets. He noticed something. Most homeless shelters had no efficient system for distributing food donations. Tons of food was wasted each week simply because no one knew how to manage supply and demand. And like the engineer he was, Ethan started sketching a system, a digital platform connecting restaurants with shelters in real time. He didn't have a laptop. He didn't have an office. He had nothing but a pen, paper, and hunger, both the physical kind and the kind that burns in the soul. Every morning, he walked to the public library, sat in the corner, and taught himself coding. Every evening, he returned to the bridge, scribbling ideas until the city lights blurred into streaks. People walked past him. Some judged him. Some ignored him. Some even mocked him. But Ethan wasn't focused on where he was. He was focused on where he was going. Chapter 3, The Breakthrough. One winter afternoon, while warming himself inside a coffee shop lobby, Ethan overheard two businessmen talking about startup incubators, programs that funded new tech ideas. He didn't have a laptop, but he had guts. Ethan walked up to them, apologized for interrupting, and asked, "Do these incubators accept people who don't have a company yet?" One of the men laughed. The other looked him up and down, a homeless kid with ripped shoes, and said, "If you have something worth listening to, someone will listen." That night, Ethan didn't sleep. He wrote until his fingers cramped, producing a rough business plan for his food distribution platform. He named it BridgeLink, because it connected two worlds that rarely met. The next morning, wearing the only shirt he owned, Ethan walked into a local business incubator with nothing but determination and a stack of handwritten pages. The receptionist looked confused. The judges looked skeptical. But when Ethan began to speak, something changed in the room. He shared the reality of food waste. He shared the suffering he witnessed in shelters. He shared his vision, an app that could feed thousands and reduce waste at the same time. And he shared something they didn't expect. His own story. By the end of his presentation, the judges weren't just impressed, they were stunned. A man who had nothing was offering a solution worth everything. He won a $25,000 seed grant on the spot. For the first time in months, Ethan didn't sleep under a bridge. He slept in a small rented room with a mattress on the floor and hope in his heart. Chapter 4, The Rise. Ethan used the seed money to buy a used laptop, rent a tiny office desk inside a co-working space, and hire two part-time developers. They were college students. He was a homeless dropout. But their vision was the same. Within 6 months, BridgeLink launched in pilot mode with 12 restaurants and 3 shelters. By year 1, it had expanded to 7 cities. By year 2, it had saved 2 million meals from going to waste. Investors started paying attention. Tech blogs called Ethan the dropout who might change America's food system. Shelters praised him. Restaurants loved the tax benefits. But success wasn't smooth. There were days the servers crashed. Days investors backed out. Days Ethan questioned everything. But every time he felt himself breaking, he remembered the cold nights under the bridge. The looks of pity. The hunger. The tears he never let himself cry. And he kept going. In the 3rd year, BridgeLink closed a $40 million Series B funding round. Ethan, once homeless, became the CEO of a rapidly growing company. By year 5, BridgeLink was valued at over $1.3 billion. A billionaire. A CEO. A man who built an empire from the ground beneath a bridge. Chapter 5, The Transformation. With fame came opportunities. But Ethan didn't buy a mansion or a sports car. He bought back his parents' old home. The same home the bank had taken from them years ago. He restored it exactly as it had been, the same wallpaper, the same porch swing, even the same tree his father planted when Ethan was 5. When his parents saw the house, they broke down in tears. His father, now older but healthier, hugged him and whispered, "I thought we lost you. But you found yourself." Ethan created a foundation for homeless youth. He donated millions to shelters. He launched free coding boot camps for underprivileged communities. He didn't just build a company. He built hope. Chapter 6, The Message. Today, Ethan Cole stands on stages across the world. But his message isn't about money. or success, or fame. His message is simple. You are not defined by where you start. You are defined by how hard you refuse to stop. He tells people that rock bottom is not the end. It's a foundation. A place to rebuild. A place to rise. And whenever he drives past the old bridge where he once slept, he rolls down the window, looks up at the concrete pillars, and whispers, "Thank you for not letting me give up." Conclusion. Ethan Cole's journey is proof that life can take everything from you. Your home. Your security. Your dreams. But it cannot take your will. It cannot take your belief. It cannot take the fire inside you. Unless you let it. He was a homeless dropout. Now he's a billionaire CEO. Not because he was lucky. Not because he was gifted. But because he chose to rewrite his story when the world tried to end it. And so can you. This is not just a success story. This is a reminder. Where you are today does not decide where you can be tomorrow.